Great chance that my phone is going to ring during this night. My groceries are finally being delivered. So, amen, amen, amen. All right, everybody. So, today, the lesson was I got to give another shout out. Great, awesome opportunities to do different types of ministry and service today. So, got to give a, no, there we go. So, testing, testing. All right. So today's lessons. Uh, Thank you everybody for listening yesterday. I'm actually going to start doing these at 9:30, just so that I think I shouldn't have said that, but I do think at 9:30 will be more helpful to me. But anyways, great shout out to the BWA and all of the global citizens that came on, having a wonderful conversations today with women from different sectors and ministries around the globe. That's always a blessing. And to the churches and pastors who were on, I want to give a special shout out to the NABF session because that was awesome. So today, I just want to share something that I was reminded of, because sometimes your lessons comes not from you, but from watching somebody else, and you're like, that's it, no judgment. What can I learn from this? So I think that's a big thing that I'm always reminded of. Like when I see something that I don't like or somebody, instead of dwelling in secondhand embarrassment, I learned to like use that energy to say, you know what can I learn from this person and their experiences? So I haven't said this, but if you're out there, say, hey, drop it in the chats. Let me know you're out there. But I know I am working on being consistent at 9 o'clock. So sometimes I come on at 9, sometimes 9:15, but now I'm actually shifting, like I said earlier, to 9:30. But what was the lesson for today? The lesson for today was do not make decisions out of these 4 things. Because I think a lot of bad actions just come from really bad decisions. So I was watching somebody and they started this list for me, just watching them learn from their life. So here's the 4 that I wanted to identify tonight, because as I was making my list of like, do not act or make decisions out of, and that means that they're rooted in these 4 things. The first is insecurity. Like when you feel insecure, and I realize that every single person has some sort of insecurity, and I noticed that when people make decisions based on that insecurity, there may be a tendency to focus to do things that end up actually exacerbating that insecurity. It doesn't strengthen anyone, but it actually plays on weakness instead of on strength. And so I think when people respond out of insecurity, like if somebody does something and it taps into some space where you may feel overly vulnerable or afraid or fearful, then that's a bad place to make a decision out of. Here's 2 more. I'll be honest with y'all tonight, I'm hungry, but the second is petty revenge. There's a lot of pettiness going on, and I don't know if they're giving out degrees or anything in petty. Like I got a bachelor's in petty. I know there's a couple people with at least an associate's in petty. But that I think there's some decisions that people do this tat for tat stuff. And as I said, looking in my own life, every time I've done some sort of petty thing, I just feel like it never is worth the energy that gets put into it. I do make comments sometimes that may be petty, but that's usually when I'm playing around. But overall, I think there's some things that people do that's really tat for tat that it's usually not worth it. Here's the second one. Third one is desperation. When people make decisions out of desperation, I used to always say, especially when doing leadership, I would say the only people or the only things that really like desperate people or drawn to desperate people are others who want to take advantage of them. That's usually the only people who are really attracted to desperation. So when we can, let's not be that. Let's not make decisions out of desperation. I've made terrible decisions out of desperation, like feeling desperate, like not being in a desperate situation, but feeling desperate. And one of the things that I realized that I'm able to do, and y'all can talk back to me, but I'm able to discern it. And some of these other ones is just pause and say, you know what, a week from now, how will I feel about what I'm doing? How will I feel about my reaction in 1 week, in 5 days, in 3 days? If I can pause long enough to not make that decision, to not have that reaction, I will grow a lot more. Because there's things that we do that are really, really, we make decisions on things that are really important in the moment, but ultimately they're not important at all. And here is the final one. It is guilt. I try not to make decisions out of guilt, because all of these will manipulate you, will manipulate situations. But I think it's so important to yes, feel, we could get convicted about something and feel bad about something. But earlier today, I saw somebody, and I wasn't sure if it's insecurity or guilt that they were making a decision out of. But I wanted to say, this is not good. This is not good. This is not good. Thanks. This is not good. And I couldn't, but what I could do is pray. So that is the solution, I think, that is like, duh, but it really isn't. Like, to be able to be prayerful, and before we feel driven to a decision, make sure we pause. And like I said, say, you know what, how will I feel about this tomorrow? How will I feel about this next week? Before I respond to something, whether it's sending a text, you tear somebody up in a text, or even an email, just saying, how will I feel about what I'm doing right now? And I think if we can take a step back, we can take it, like, if we could take one step back, we can take 5 or 10 steps forward. If only we paused a little bit more and prayed a little bit more. I try not to suffer from secondhand embarrassment, because I know maybe some people look at me and they suffer from secondhand embarrassment, but just those 4 things: insecurity, petty revenge, desperation, and guilt. Like, pray about it. If it's somebody, that's what I learned. If you've hurt somebody or something, just ask for, forgiveness, acknowledge the wrong, but try not to make decisions rooted in those 4 things. This is my lesson for today. As I said, not necessarily things I learned from my own life, but things I learned by watching others. Hey, Tasha, how you doing tonight? Thank you for joining me. If you have something that you've learned that you're like, you know what, I will never make a decision out of this. So I said, hunger. That's like going to the grocery store when you're hungry. That cart does shift when you are hungry. I don't know if that happens to y'all, but it's like, how did it get in this cart? Why did that start looking good? I don't even cook this stuff. Like, I remember one time I was at the store. I was so hungry. I wasn't even hungry. I was hungry. And I just wanted some pasta. I had a taste for pasta. I was ordering pasta. I don't even like what is it called? Gnocchi, whatever that. I hate that stuff. I was like, oh my goodness, why did you do this? You know why? Desperation. So let's not make decisions that we later regret. You got to live with. And that was a light one, but there's some heavy decisions I think people make every day. And like I said, learning from somebody else is a blessing. So let's never make decisions, everybody, out of insecurity, out of anger, or that's rooted in anger, petty revenge, and that's usually the whole anger thing, and desperation, though, and guilt. Those 4: insecurity, petty revenge, desperation, and guilt. If you have something that you say, you know what, never make a decision rooted in this, add it to the chat, send it to my message, DM me, whatever it is. As y'all can see, I am tired. I've been on the computer all day today. Wonderful conference happening. Wonderful work happening at the Fountain. Wonderful conference happening at the Baptist World Alliance. And I'm tired. So I hope you all have a beautiful night and a wonderful day. A wonderful night and a beautiful day tomorrow. And I will be back here at 9:30 p.m. All right. I was a little early today, but tomorrow starts the 9:30. All right. See y'all later. Bye-bye.